Namaste बिटिया, सदा खुश रहो बिटिया. I am JVN Dr. Alka Jain, Associate Professor in the Department of Community Medicine, Faculty of Homeopathic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University. The topic of today's lecture is the different modes of transmission of a disease. So here is a flow chart of different types of modes of transmissions of an infectious disease or a communicable disease. So broadly we can classify it in two, mainly the direct mode of transmissions and the second one is indirect mode of transmissions. In direct mode of transmissions, these are the different types. The first one is direct contact, the second one is droplet infection, contact with soil, inoculation into skin or mucosa, transplacental. Transplacental mode of transmission को वर्टिकल मोड ऑफ ट्रांसमिशन भी कहते हैं. एंड इन इनडायरेक्ट मोड ऑफ ट्रांसमिशन दीज आर द व्हीकल बॉर्न, वेक्टर बॉर्न, एयर बॉर्न, फोमाट बॉर्न, unclean hands. Now this is a pictures of different modes of transmission of a disease. You can see this is the airborne. In airborne mode of transmissions, how it spreads from sneezing, coughing, or while talking. In fecal route by eating contaminated food and water. This is a foodborne and this is a bloodborne. These are the indirect mode of transmissions and this is a direct mode of transmissions because in this there is a indirect route of transmissions. In this mode the person is direct in the contact of a infectious person. Now, it is a picture as of the latest novel corona 2019 epidemic, and here the presentations of COVID-19 is fever, cough, myalgia, fatigue, leukopenia, and lymphopenia. Now, the diagnosis, how we will diagnose? It's by history of contact, clinical manifestations, laboratory examinations, and chest, CT, virological examinations. And there are recent cases without any travel history or apparent contact with infected individuals. So pregnant women, newborns, elderly patients, and those with comorbidities like diabetes mellitus, hypertension, cardiovascular disease are susceptible to COVID-19 infections and likely to have more severe illness, often requiring ICU care. Here I am giving the examples of COVID-19 because in COVID-19 the mode of transmission is by direct mode of transmission. This is a droplet infection. This is another mode by shaking hands. It is a direct mode of transmission. Now in direct contact there is essentially immediate transfer of the agent from a reservoir to a susceptible host by direct contact or droplet spread. In previous lectures, dynamics of the transmission of disease, I have told about the reservoir and source of infections or susceptible host. Now, infections may be transmitted by direct contact from skin to skin, mucosa to mucosa, or mucosa to skin of the same or another person without an intermediate agency. This is important. यहाँ पे कोई भी intermediate agency नहीं है. यहाँ पे infection है वो directly spread हो रहा है एक person से दूसरे person में और कोई agency use नहीं हो रही है उसको spread करने में. Direct contact refers also to contact with soil or vegetation harboring infectious organisms. And the examples are STDs, AIDS, leprosy, skin and eye infections. COVID-19 is also a type of disease in which there is a direct contact and spreads disease from droplet infections. In droplet infections, direct projection of a spray of droplets of saliva and nasopharyngeal secretions. And these secretions are produced by sneezing, coughing, or even talking. The expelled droplets may impinge directly upon the conjunctiva, oral respiratory mucosa, or skin of a close contact. Particles less than 5 millimeter can penetrate deeply and reach the alveoli, usually limited to a distance of maximum 1 meter. And the particles which are more than 5 mm or 10 mm can hardly penetrate the mucosa. The potential for droplet spread is increased in conditions of close proximity, overcrowding, and lack of ventilations. The examples of direct droplet infections are common cold, tuberculosis, meningococcal meningitis, whooping cough, COVID-19. This is corona disease. Here is the most drawback of this type of droplet infections, because there is a direct spray or direct projection of a droplets from one person to another. So there is a lots of volume of secretions which adheres to the mucosa of other person, and the virulence and the pathogenicity of microorganisms are much more in these type of infections. Now, this is the image of a droplet infections. A person by coughing or sneezing, a spray of secretions spreads in the environment, and the persons who is near him or her may catch the infection. Now, another mode of transmission which comes under the direct transmission is contact with soil. Direct exposure of the susceptible tissue to the disease agents, like in tetanus. Tetanus में जब भी कोई एक्सीडेंट होता है, कोई इंजरी होती है, तो सबसे पहले यही कहा जाता है कि तुमने टेटबैक लगवाया नहीं लगवाया. तो टेटबैक लगवाने का जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात ये होती है कि इंजरी होने के बाद में स्किन कॉन्टैक्ट इंटैक्ट नहीं रहती है, और जहाँ पे भी कट लगता है वहाँ पे यदि जो सॉइल है वो कांटेक्ट में आती है, तो उससे टिटनेस होने के चांसेस बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं. इनोकुलेशन इनटू द स्किन और म्यूकोजा. The agent is directly inoculated into skin or mucosa, like in rabies or hepatitis B. And the other mode is transplacental or vertical mode of transmission is TORCH. This is Toxoplasmosis, Rubella, and Cytomegalovirus, and the hepatitis, and it's a varicella, hepatitis B, and AIDS. Now come to the indirect modes of transmissions. It is from a reservoir to a susceptible host by either vehicle-borne, vector-borne, or airborne transmission, means suspended air particles. The infectious agents must be capable of surviving outside the human host in the external environment. So this is a conditions for an agent to survive outside the human host to in the external environment to spread further. Now, first one is vehicle-borne. An infectious agent is carried from a reservoir to a susceptible host by an inanimate intermediary, like vehicle includes contaminated food and water, biological products, fomites. From contaminated foods, the examples of disease are typhoid, paratyphoid, food poisonings, dysentery, and cholera. Through blood, it is hepatitis B, AIDS, syphilis, and through fomites, inanimate objects such as doorknobs, toys, handkerchiefs, beddings, or surgical instruments. The disease which spreads, the example is influenza. Now, this is an image of a foodborne transmission in hepatitis A. This is an image of a waterborne transmission. Here it is a common source outbreak through a broad street pump, and the example was cholera. Now next come to the vector-borne. Vector is an arthropod or any living carrier that transports an infectious agent to a susceptible individuals. Arthropod includes flies and mosquitoes, fleas, cockroaches, ticks and mites, suckling lice, etc. Mechanical transmission is the agent doesn't multiply or undergo physiological changes in the vector. For example, fly carry Shigella on appendages. और biological transmission में क्या होता है कि जहाँ पे agent undergoes changes और multiply, vector में जहाँ पे multiply करेगा और जहाँ पे वो changes करेगा, grow करेगा, वो biological mode of transmission होता है. और mechanical में सिर्फ as ही stay करता है और वहाँ पे multiply नहीं करता agent. Now, next is airborne. It is also comes in the indirect mode of transmissions. Airborne transmission occurs by particles that are suspended in air, and there are two types: dust and droplet nuclei. Dust particles results from resuspension of particles that have settled on floor or bedding. Infectious particles blown from the soil by the wind. Examples are fungal spores. And in droplet nuclei, they represent the dry residue of droplets that have been coughed or sneezed into the air. They are very tiny particles, less than 5 microns in size, and may remain suspended in the air for long periods. So in COVID-19 or corona disease, this is also another mode of transmissions by droplet nuclei. Tuberculosis is transmitted more often indirectly through droplet nuclei than directly, and Legionnaires disease and histoplasmosis also spread through the airborne mode of transmission. Now, the last point is portal of entry. An agent enters susceptible host through a portal of entry, and the portal of entry must provide access to a tissue in which the agents can multiply or toxins can act. Often organisms use the same portal to enter a new host that they use to exit the source host. So this fifth number is given for the chain of infections, which I have told in previous lectures. There are the multiple factors which are responsible to maintain a chain of infections. So this is the fifth factor. This is portal of entry, and after it there is susceptible host. Thank you so much. And this susceptible host is the final link in the chain of infections, and the host is the persons or other living organisms that can be infected by an infectious agent under normal conditions. An infectious agent seeks a susceptible host aiming successful parasitism. 4 stages are required for successful parasitisms: portal of entry, site of election inside the body, portal of exit, survival in the external environment. So susceptibility of a host depends upon the genetic factors, general factors, host defenses. And the general factors which defend against infections are the skin, the mucous membrane, gastric acidity, cilia and the respiratory tract, the cough reflex, and non-specific immune response. And the factors which may increase susceptibility are malnutrition, alcoholism, disease, or therapy which impairs the immune response, like cortisone, cytotoxic drugs. Now the host defenses against infection is at once local and systematic, and specific and non-specific, humoral or cellular. Most of infectious agents stimulate multiple host defenses mechanisms. Now, what is specific acquired immunity? It refers to protective antibodies that are directed against a specific agent. It is of two types: active immunity and resistance developed in response to stimulus by an antigen, either by naturally or by artificially. Naturally by infecting agents or artificially by vaccines, and it is usually characterized by the presence of antibody produced by the host. Passive immunity is conferred by an antibody produced in another host and may be acquired by naturally in an infant from its mother, or artificially by administration of an antibody containing preparation, like in antiserum or immunoglobulin. Thank you so much. And this session is powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. And if there is any query, please mention in the comment box. Thank you.